So fine, in the current example we use the servlet to output the data we have previously entered in the web form. Unfortunately that is an incorrect way of using servlets, because you should never use the servlets to directly send the messages and make the responses to the client. You should always try to use the servlets as a model view controller that operates and manages GSP pages to show views to the client. So we will slightly modify our servlet to make it like a model view controller servlet that shows us the GSP pages, and so that we would not access the GSP pages directly in our URL string. So to give our servlet ability to manage the servlet, to manage the GSP pages, we use interface called request dispatcher. We can access it by calling our servlet context. We just call the method from the parent class, base class HTTP servlet, and the name of it is get servlet context. Here it is, and then we retrieve our request dispatcher, and here we type in as a string type which GSP page we want to show our client. Let's say we want to show him index.gsp page, and then forward them our request and response references like that. First one is the request and second one is the response. So let's try how it looks now. Now we wanna create we wanna request servlet itself, not the GSP page like in the first example, but directly servlet, and it should show us the GSP page. Let's try. Run on server, restart server, okay. And you look now, the URL looks different. It now shows us that a request is sent to the servlet example servlet, and by these lines it shows us the index GSP page with our web form. Now when we send the when we submit the data, we will send these data to our servlet to avoid getting back our index GSP page with form. Let's say we will create some condition here, like if these parameters not equals null, equals null, or the second one equals null, then we show our client the index.jsp, which is our form page, and let's say now we bring just return to avoid processing the rest of our method. So let's test it. Context for loading. Looks like it works. So when we send the request with the submit button, then this should not work and we should not get the index.jsp page again. But instead of that, the rest of our method should process our request. So we get the two variables here, and instead of doing like we previously did, is using output stream to output directly to our client, we will use the request dispatcher to show our output GSP view. So delete that and let's create another GSP page and call it output.gsp, and here in body let's print some heading. Your first and last name is, and here we should add some JavaScriptlet, and we do this in that way. Like on PHP we were using that kind tags, yeah. Now we use, instead of that, we use these. Okay, let's create some string variables here. First name, and to access the data that our servlet sends to us, we should use the session scope variable, which is available in all GSP pages, and that is a session. Then we will use method called getAttribute, and just print the attribute name. That would be our first name, and here's some casting exception, because getAttribute always returns the object and we want a string, and that is simple to resolve. Just add casting to string. Let's do it for our last name also. And now let's make just basic output, and we will use the output reference available in all GSP pages, and that is a GSP writer implementation. So call out dot print. Okay, let's try it that way, and just include this in the output. Yeah. Now we go back to our servlet, and after this we do it again and call our request dispatcher with the parameter the second page we have created, and that is output GSP. Let's forward our objects to them. And now we should set these attributes to our request object, to this one we have received here. So set attribute first name. No, I'm sorry, this goes here. and here we type in the name we have requested here. Do it for last name. I'm sorry. Yeah. And the same. Okay, let's try this example and hope it works. We do not need the output stream anymore. Oops. Okay, save it and let's try. So here's our form, and just refresh it. And let's try to input some data again. So to remember, we now are doing following. So sorry, just extra import, and here we called our servlet example servlet. Here it is. It checked that the parameter first name is null or parameter last name is null, and that appears to be true, and that it gives us the index.jsp page. We see it here. Index.jsp page is our form. So now when we will submit this form, we will get back to our servlet, and this will not gonna happen because these are not nulls anymore. So we'll continue with processing this method, get our parameters, set in the request attributes called first name, last name, and show the client output GSP page. And when we show the client output GSP page, here it is. Here's some heading information will be printed out. Then requested two attributes from session, first name, last name, and then print it out here. So let's try it and type some first name and last name. Submit. Okay, you see that the heading is printed fine, but we have problems with our data we have inputted previously in the form. So let's debug this situation. I'm very sorry, because I requested here the session reference. That is incorrect. We do not use sessions right now, so just correct it to the request get attribute, because we set the attributes to the request reference. So let's try this way and let's see if it works. So access our servlet. Okay, let's try back button. Okay, it shows us the form. Let's type in again our first name and last name. Click submit, and now it works fine. You see our heading and our first name and last name we entered. And in the current example, the difference is that we do not use our servlet to send a response and print the data anymore. We use it like a model view controller. This is a very basic and simple example of model view controller. It operates with the two GSP pages. You can operate with the more GSP pages, and to send the data back, we use a GSP page with all these HTML head and other stuff included, so that we do not manually use the output stream to print them. We can include here the forms and tables and some other HTML things, and apply some formatting here, colors, and so on. Fine. That was just a quick overview of servlets and GSP. The very clean way it was used in the early Java web application development. Of course, we does not handle any specific cases when the client requests our GSP pages directly via URL, but that's why it's called just basic overview. So the time goes forward and the many powerful frameworks comes into play, which is the main case of our studies. So we will end up with these GSP and servlet applications, and in the next video we will start creating our enterprise web application using Maven and all the frameworks we discussed in the one of the first videos. So join in the next video.